Hello ladies and gents, this is Jarek Defiler and welcome to the next video in my new series, Games for Non-Gamers. Specifically, we're looking at the FPS genre, or first-person shooter genre lately. As you can see, we got Doom 2016 running again, just like the last video. And if you are familiar with the last video, then you'll know we just went over a couple of simple things like the campaign mode, multiplayer mode, basic stuff, main menus, save slots, arcade mode, things like that. Nothing too fancy. But today we're going to be going a little bit deeper and we're going to be checking out the settings menu of Doom 2016, or the options menu. Now, I said it in the last video and I'll say it again. If you are looking to be a PC gamer or a personal computer gamer, generally the first thing you want to do when you start up a game for the first time is head straight to the settings menu or the options menu. This will allow you to optimize the game for you and your needs. Not only your needs, but your wants as well. So if you're just looking for graphical fidelity, you can change that. If you're looking for optimal performance, such as a fast frame rate, or, you know, just like less strain on your GPU or your CPU, then the settings menu is where you're going to want to be doing all that tweaking. So we're going to be looking at that today. Alright, so let's get started, shall we? As you can see, there's no settings or options menu here on the main menu. This is kind of unique to Doom. As most FPS games, or just games in general, the settings and the options menu is also on the main menu here. But with Doom, it's not. You have to actually go into the campaign menu in order to access the settings menu. So we'll do that now. We're going to click on campaign, and we went over this in the last video. As you can see, just the new save slots and stuff. I only have the one and only, like I discussed in the last video, so when I click on this, just be warned that there may be some spoilers as far as maps and collectibles are concerned. Nothing too fancy. You're probably not going to really be too worried about it. But just in case you don't want to see any of the maps that are in the game and stuff like that, then you can just probably skip this part. But it's not that big of a deal, going to be honest. So we're going to click on game slot 1. This is my one and only save slot. This will bring us to the campaign menu. I'll just go over these options real quick before we get into the settings menu. Most FPS games will have a mission select screen. So if we click on this, it's just going to show all the maps that we've already done, or missions, I guess they call it here. I usually just refer to them as maps. But in this case, missions, these are the ones that are all in the game. So this is the end, this is the beginning. And as you can see here, they each have challenges and exploration perks that you can get by doing unique things. Like, for instance, this one says find 3 secrets, and then you get a perk. This is used to level up your weapons. And then you also have elite guards, field drone. These are kind of items and stuff in the game that you can collect. Rune trials is a trial system that the game has in order to unlock unique things and perks and stuff like that. Not going to go into this in detail. This is something that you can just play on your own to find out. It's very Doom specific, so maybe I'll do a Doom video one day that explains all this. But as far as just knowing about the FPS genre, this really isn't too important. You just can know that, yes, you can select missions and replay them that you have already completed. That's probably what you want to take away from this. So we're going to hit escape and go back to the menu again. And Rune Trial Select, again, this is kind of unique to Doom. This is just basically a trial system where you have like these little mini maps inside the maps that you'll go to, and you'll do different trials, and once you beat them, you get a reward. You're not going to really find this stuff in most FPS games. It's kind of just Doom specific. It's cool though. It's fun and challenging and fairly fast paced, so it doesn't really take you out of the immersion of Doom. But again, it's very Doom specific, so just keep that in mind. We're probably not going to go into this in detail either. So I hit escape, go back again. Now, collectibles is something that you find in a lot of not only FPS games, but just a lot of games in general, mainly RPGs or open world RPGs. Collectibles is just basically items or lore or something that you can find in the game world that you can then just grab, and it'll be in a codex kind of thing like this. As you can see, I do not have a lot collected because I'm just not the kind of person that's into collectibles. I don't really care. Collectibles or achievements just aren't my thing. But hey, a lot of people are into this stuff, and it's great that they have it in there for them. So maybe this will be something you'll enjoy, and it can be fun for you if you want to go out and try to find them, because a lot of these will be hidden or maybe in a secret area, and you have to actually find them in order to collect them. They're not just going to be out in the open most of the time. So if that's your thing, Doom has a little bit something for you. And a lot of games have this, so it's not just unique to Doom. So you can just keep that in mind, especially if you're going to want to get into open world RPGs, then collectibles is just a big part of those games nowadays. So that's just something fun that might be up your alley. Just depends on the kind of player you want to be. All right, escape back, and now we're going to go and delve into the settings menu. So we'll click on the settings option here, and this will bring us to the settings menu. Basically, everything in here is just something you can change that will affect the game in some way, shape, or form. Either be it through performance, through looks, through sound, or just quality of life stuff, which you'll mostly find in the game section right here. Controller section, just tweaking the controller settings. You can actually change the layout of the buttons and things like that. I'll plug in the controller a little later and we'll look at that. Mouse and keyboard, you can change your key binding, sensitivity of the mouse and things like that. Audio is pretty self-explanatory. Just adjust the audio settings. You could do, I believe, master volume, music and stuff. We'll look into it. Video settings is going to be the same. Just adjust your video settings for if you want to get like higher performance. You can change the resolution, or you can, change the graphical fidelity, things like that. You can do some more complex things here. Advanced is going to be the most complex options in the settings menu. This will be stuff that is directly linked to your hardware on your PC. So if you want to take a little less stress on your GPU or your CPU, then you can change some stuff in here. If you want a higher frame rate, you can change stuff in here. If you want less temperature on your hardware, then you can change stuff in here. This is very complex. We'll be doing it last because, a lot of the stuff in here I don't even really understand. It's really like high level tech guru stuff. But we'll still try to take a look at it and see what we can come up with. But for starters, we're going to do the game options right here. This is just, like I said, quality of life stuff. It's all personal preference. Nothing in here will make or break the game. It doesn't affect the performance. It's just all, basically comes down to what you prefer as a player. Difficulty settings is a good start. So I'm too young to die. That's going to be the easy mode. If you're a new gamer or a casual gamer, generally, this is the mode for you. It's just less frustrating. It really allows you to take your time and learn the game. Hurt Me Plenty is going to be the default mode. Nothing too fancy, just normal. It's a little easy for me, so I played on ultra violence, which I died a couple times, but still not too difficult. It was always just my own stupidity and mistakes that I died. You have to do ultra violence in order to unlock the nightmare and ultra nightmare modes. So if that's your cup of tea, you can just dive right into that. But as a new gamer, I highly recommend just do I'm Too Young to Die. Now, look on here, the auto switch empty. What this means is that whenever you run out of ammo on your weapon, then it will automatically switch to the next weapon in your arsenal. So that's a good feature to have. It just keeps the combat rolling, doesn't take you out of the game, so you don't have to stop and kind of change weapons and stuff, even though it doesn't take that long to change weapons. It's just, again, a quality of life feature. Some people might not like it. I think it's fine. Don't really have any problems with it. So as you can see, when this is highlighted, that means it's enabled. If we click on it here and it's empty, these little boxes, that means it's disabled. We'll keep it enabled for now. Auto switch new is pretty similar. Whenever you pick up a new weapon on the ground or find a new weapon in the game somewhere, then it'll automatically switch to that new weapon. So, you can have that disabled or enabled as well. Just a nice little feature to have. Doom Classic Weapon Pose. This one you probably won't understand unless you played the original Doom back in the 90s. The only difference with this and modern games, I guess you can say almost all modern FPS have a more standard side kind of weapon slant to their models, their weapon models. I think a lot of this is because the weapon models nowadays in games are just very large, so having it off to the side is probably a bit more conceivable. Whereas if you put this on Doom Classic Weapon Pose, it's going to put all the weapon models directly in the center of the screen, just like it was in the 90s. So, some people might dig that. Personally, I don't so much because the weapon models are just very large and they kind of get in the way, so I prefer to have them a little bit off to the side. But, personal preference. That's what this is all about. Crosshair style. As you'll see, they just have... The crosshair is basically the aim on sight point. So you'll see the little dots or whatever in the middle of the screen, depending on the crosshair. With Doom, you just have the default one, the simple. And then you can go with none if you want to get really hardcore and just, run around with nothing on the screen. I just have it on default. But, just play with it and see what you like. Now, glory kills are somewhat unique to Doom 2016. Basically, a glory kill is when you damage a demon enough to get its health low, it'll become staggered and somewhat stunned and just kind of wander around a bit, and you can immediately jump on it and just kill it or frag it, and it'll die in this loot explosion. So what's a loot explosion? That basically means when you kill an enemy and they just blow up and all this loot like items, armor, weapons and stuff fall out of them, and you can collect them. In Doom case, the loot is pretty much just armor, health, and ammo. So what does a glory kill highlight then? What that means is when they get to that point of becoming staggered, they'll start to glow and they'll get all shiny and have a nice little pretty particle effect, just signifying, hey, I'm ready to get wasted. And then you can jump on them and just destroy them. It's a pretty cool feature. I like it a lot. I usually have that enabled. And just if you want to have it disabled, you'll still see them staggering around and everything, but this just makes it easier to let you know that they're ready to be killed immediately. Alright, moving on to the HUD, or the heads-up display. Basically what this is all that stuff that you see around on the screen, the numbers and the arrows and the tooltips, which is just the words like giving advice and hints and stuff. That's all the heads-up display. So as you'll see here, all these options are disabled because these are all linked to the heads-up display. So if we enable the heads-up display, boop, then you'll see them all becoming enabled as well. And these are all, again, just kind of clutter if you aren't into that kind of thing, or they're information for you if you are into that kind of thing. So we'll just go looking through each one, starting with compass. The compass is basically the directional input on the heads-up display. It's usually at the top, and it'll be like arrows and stuff pointing on it. A lot of times I'll have like an N for north and a W for west and stuff. It just depends. It's pretty useful. I tend to have just almost everything on here enabled, and the compass is one of the most important for just finding your way and trying to get to a new objective. The boss health bar is basically just a health indicator for the boss that you're currently fighting. So what's a boss, you ask? A boss is a very powerful enemy. Usually they stand as a barrier for you proceeding through the level. You have to defeat them before you can continue. They're always way more powerful and stronger than your standard mobs or enemies that you may have fought. And usually they'll have a unique style or mechanic or something like that you have to kind of mix it up in the combat. You can't just run and gun on them and just blindly run in shooting and everything. You'll have to take your time and actually calculate their patterns and stuff like that, or use some really more advanced reflexes and things like that. So all this does is just show you how much life they have left as you're fighting them. Interaction prompt just means it shows you the key that you have to press in order to function with something in the game. So if you have to press a button in the game, or listen to something in the game, or pick up a weapon or something in the game, then this will show you the key that you have to use in order to access that. For me, I just have it on F. Some people have it on E. Some people have it on C or something like that. Space bar is usually, well, not space bar, that's usually used for jump. But this is very useful because sometimes you can miss things that you can actually interact with. So it's good to have this on there just so it can show you. Objective notifications, well, link kind of all these together. Objective notifications, objective markers, and update notifications. These are all kind of similar. Objective notifications just basically shows you what you have to do and tells you what you have to do and notifies you on any updates and stuff. Like say you have to collect 3 spheres in the game or something like that. Then this will basically just show you every time you pick up one, then it'll show, oh, you have 1 out of 3, and then you pick up another one, and oh, you have 2 out of 3. That's all this does. It's just little info to tell you how you're progressing on your objectives or your missions. Objective markers is pretty similar, except this, instead of showing you what you have to do, it shows you where you have to go. So these will show arrows and stuff on the map or on the compass, just pointing the way, letting you know, hey, it's in this direction. And you can get lost in some of these levels. They're not really maze-like, but they can tend to look the same in some areas. So it's good to have this on there to help you find your way. Now, update notifications. This is just some updates on all your, well, it says it right here, your upgrades, weapon upgrades, your tokens and stuff like that. So if you have abilities or weapons rather that you can upgrade and customize, or if you collect new lore or something, then this will just show you, hey, you got something you can do or something you can read. It's, it can get a little bit cluttered, like I say. I don't personally mind it, but some people might find it annoying. But again, this is all quality of life stuff, so just play with it and see if it's your thing or not. Combat rating, all this pretty much shows is the progress of your basically your ability to upgrade. So a combat rating is a system that the more enemies you kill and stuff, you kind of get experience that allows you to get these tokens once you level up, and then you can use those tokens to customize your weapons and stuff like that. So this just shows how much progress you have before leveling up and getting another token again. Tutorials is pretty much just what it sounds like. It's just hints and tooltips and things like that, showing you how to do stuff in the game, or telling you, I should say, how to do stuff in the game. So if you have those disabled, then you won't need to read any of the text. If you have them enabled, then they'll pop up a lot, and they're pretty helpful. So I keep those on, because sometimes even a veteran gamer like myself, you don't know everything that's going to happen in a new game. So it's nice to just have those on there until you really learn the game, and then you can turn them off if you wish. Keep in mind that these options aren't Doom 2016 specific. These are found in a lot of different FPS games. With the exception of Doom Classic, Weapon Pose, Glory Kill, Highlights, Combat Rating, those are pretty Doom specific. But things like, obviously, Combat Difficulty, Auto Switch on the weapons, Crosshair Style, you can find those in almost all modern FPS games. Even non-FPS games, such as the HUD, the heads-up display here, you can find those in open-world RPGs, you can find them in third-person shooters. Things like compass, interact prompt, objective markers, these are found in a lot of different games across a lot of different genres. So you could take this knowledge, take this verbiage, take this jargon, and use it going forward when you try in different games. And you go into their settings menu, then hey, you know what a compass is now. You know what an interaction prompt is now. You know what a boss health bar is. So you can use that going forward. Probably in the video here, I don't want these to get too long. Next video, I'll be looking into the controller and mouse and keyboard settings. For now, I'll probably just put up a jargon list and put some terminology on there and jargon on there that might not be familiar with non-gamers. So hopefully you'll learn something from that. And until then, I guess I'll cut it off. So you all have a good morning, afternoon, evening, and night, depending on where you are. I'm out.